Good morning, good day. I hope you're all doing really well. It is our Tuesday business tip, and this is Tracy Brown, your somatic dietitian and attuned eating specialist. And I have a lot of things I want to talk about, so I realize I need to be slow. And as this year comes to a close, we might be right now thinking that we're ready for a break. We might be maybe you've already planned what your hopes are for 2020. Maybe you're not sure and you're maybe feeling a little stuck, or maybe you're just feeling overwhelmed. So if you relate to any of these, please comment below where you're at. I really want to hear about if you're wanting to just blow things up and change things. If you are just like, Tracy, I just want to get 5 clients or 10 clients. It's funny, last week my husband and I were talking, and I don't know what we were initially talking about, but it went some tangent. And he was saying, don't you remember when all you really wanted was like 10 clients? And this would have been in like maybe 2015. For those of you who don't know my story, I worked in other people's private practices, both a therapist and a different dietitian from, I guess, 2006 till about 2014. So a pretty long time. And I treated both of those businesses like they were my own. I marketed and either like just on the down low, because I really wanted both these businesses to succeed, because I knew if they were successful, I would be successful, and vice versa. And after a while, with that predicament, I started to recognize, like, I'm pretty good at this one. I'm really skilled enough to do what I'm doing too, and I think it's time to go on my own. And so when I did, I brought some of the some clients came with me, not a ton, between 5 and 10. And it was really up to me. And so I would say the 2015 year, I moved from Gainesville to Naples, Florida. And it's about a 5-hour difference. So I didn't know anybody here, of course. And I had a big network both in Gainesville, Florida, and in Jacksonville, Florida. So that's why I know a lot of people in Florida, because I've worked all over the state. And so I've made a lot of connections and all those kind of things. And so I knew, like, well, I'm kind of starting over again, but I have the benefit of these other 2 hubs that maybe I can draw from. And so I just made that decision. Like, I want to do a virtual practice. I don't want to like do brick and mortar again. And I do some of that, by the way. I had an office for a short period of time, maybe not even 6 months at the beginning. And I just felt like I didn't really want to, but I felt like I had to. And then after a couple of months, I'm like, I'm not really fully utilizing this space. And filling it the way I need to, and there's just no flexibility in the things I want to do. So I just made a decision against advice of anybody in our industry. Other industries, they didn't get it why I was getting an office. Different business people I knew, but so I just went for it. And here we are. In 4 years later, I would say 80% of my business is online. And I just want to it comes from a couple places. So I really would love to hear from you. What is your, we can all have big dreams. I don't like goals as much as I like the idea of, like, what do you want to put out there in the world that's needed? And what do you really care about? And that's kind of where you have to start. And so I really cared about having accessible care, given my own history. I grew up in a town of like 1,000 people, had a raging eating disorder, and the town next door that had some services, like a couple therapists essentially. And there was one dietitian who was like a couple of private practice dietitians, very few, and most of them were like diabetes and weight loss and stuff like that. I happened to find the one probably in a 100-mile area that did non-diet work. Very fortunate. And then my therapist wasn't that great, but it doesn't matter. But there was lack of services, and there was definitely no groups. There was no online anything. This is in 1996, 97. So, I draw from that experience of not enough to create all that I create, because I want people to have access, whether it's just from my free videos or my blog post, groups. I want there to be this entry point for people to learn and to get at least into their toes or their ankles, and create that. And then the next step would be, we want to think about anything that's been really hard for us in our readiness level. we know when our clients first come to us that like their readiness isn't usually 100%. Even the most motivated person. I had a new call yesterday, super motivated, like how much do you want? And we get started, but that's not the rule. That's the exception usually. And so most people need a lot of time to feel like they even want to face this, that they even feel like that maybe there's a possibility for a better life. And then it's like kind of sharing with them what's possible. Like here's a problem and here's a work through, and then here's a possible solution to get there where they want to go. And a lot of times I share a lot of information that I do in sessions that people pay for, because I know that only a very tiny fraction of people are probably going to actually take action. They don't have enough capacity to do it on their own. Or it's just going to take a lot of time and a lot of perseverance and a lot of want. Even if there are people who really want to get better, but they just need to do it with people. And so that's why I want to encourage you all that if you're feeling scared to like fully dive into your private practice, if you're, or whatever it is, it's like, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. So again, I know from my own experience with, like I said, my email list. I just want to share this with you. My own experience with my email list is that you're creating this journey for people. And I have rarely ever, like the first time people opt in for like one of my, I have about 3 action kind of like oriented guides to get people kind of going and to learn more. And I try to make them very as interactive as I can with a digital piece of paper. And then create a journey. And I know that if people go through this email sequence I have with these videos and stuff, that the percentage of people who are going to call me is pretty small, 2%, 5%, if that. But just recognizing that other people are getting something from all the things that they stay on. And the people who you don't even know they're on your list, might in 5 years be more ready. I know it sounds like a long time, but sometimes that's how long it takes. So, it's almost about consistency. So keep up your efforts. So anyway, going back to my story, is that, I share with you all that I did a combo of like local marketing and online marketing. And it took about a year to get myself to this like 10 to 15 place. And by the way, I wasn't working full time. I was only working around my kid's schedule at the time, and she was 4 and 5 back then, so not a full time, I couldn't give full time to it. So I think that's pretty darn good for like, 5 hours a day, and then, and lots of interruptions and all that, at most. And that's still all I work during. So basically my work hours like, 8:30ish to about 1:30 most days, sometimes up to 3 if I'm lucky. A couple hour break to do family stuff and tend to the kiddo, and then I usually do a couple hours at night, and that's pretty much 5 days a week. So it's pretty much a full-time job, but obviously I'm not seeing 40 hours of clients. And so that's what I want us all to be thinking about is as you go into 2020, I mean, that's like what I just described to you is a pretty typical private practice dietitian time. I was talking to one of my supervisee people yesterday, and we were all over the place, just like this video is of like what's normal, and so to normalize. So what's normal is that we start off, and your number one job, if nothing else you remember from this video today, your number one job is not necessarily always, or at least for a while. I mean, it might take, I'm at the point now where it's like my number one job is really, I spend more time with clients now than I do marketing. But at the beginning, we all fall into the trap of this, wanting to make fancy handouts, wanting to scroll on Facebook all day, or LinkedIn, or wherever we are, we're doing our just reading, or we're taking like, $25, $75, $200 like nutrition courses of some kind, or even maybe some business stuff, which is great if you're doing that to learn. And I did all those things, but I recognized after a certain period of time that like what I need to be is I had to start to think about return. And that's what I want you all to be thinking on this video, is to get to where you want to go in 2020, or at least be in a way different position than you are right now, whether that's going from 2 clients to 15, which you can do in a year, whether that's I want up my counseling skill level because my client level is good and I just want to kind of go to the next level, Or it's like, I've got clients and doing pretty good, but I'm getting stuck with certain kinds, and I'm spending a lot. If that's something you don't want to be in this position anymore, it's time to take some time between now and the end of the year. And I'll be doing videos, honestly, probably the 24th and the 31st, just because I love teaching so much, and I want you all to be successful in whatever that feels like and looks like in your own body, in your heart, and what you want your life to look like. Is first be thinking about what you want your practice in your business life to look like. And that needs to support your life. And if we're spending all our time doing small little courses, little things, if you need something that you don't understand from a medical nutrition perspective, yeah, of course do that, but that shouldn't be the majority of your time. Your time really needs to be spent with marketing. And when I say marketing, it doesn't mean ickiness. It just means go talk to people. Like literally call, email, drop by, offices and all kinds of people. And I say this constantly, but it's what works. It's just what works, is talking to people and making connections. And if it feels too scary to pick up the phone, send an email first, get the first thing out there going, and then pick up the phone in a couple days if you don't hear back from them. And just keep pressing forward, and know that you're not going to be successful with every letter you send out or email you or call you make or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just keep going. And as you're doing that, I also want people to be thinking, so you have number one is your job right now, if your practice isn't full of marketing, not about learning more nutrition stuff. It's just how it is. If you want to be able to afford supervision at a high level with the best people, they know what they're doing, you got to make money for that, right? So super important. Number two is, some people learn this pretty quickly. Some of us kind of know it, but we don't do anything about it until we have to, we get too tired or burn out, is that not everybody's going to want to do one-on-one and have a practice, 15 clients a week or 20 or whatever. I consider 20 full to the brim. I do as much as 25 sometimes, but I can have capacity for it, but it can get tiring. But I do it if that's what's coming to my door. But I want you to be thinking about that. You might feel like that's not all that there is for you, and be okay with that one. But be thinking about that now. If you're excited about stuff, if you like teaching and counseling, if you like product creation and clients, if you like group and making ebooks, be thinking about that in your business model now, and focus on that, and then start to think about what marketing ways best suit you. So if it's SEO, if it's video, if it's writing, there's all kinds of ways now to make money. It's just a matter of doing it. I'll be honest. Everything is probably, again, a certain percentage of just baseline knowledge and then action. And then you can learn more stuff. So I think I tell a lot of my supervisee people is that, when we do the business part of our work and not just the coding and counseling skills and the body image stuff and the trauma-based stuff, is that at the beginning, again, it was just free organic marketing. That's all I've done, and that's kind of what I'm best at. Do I add some fancier stuff in now? Definitely. I repurpose all my content for all the platforms right now except for Instagram. So YouTube, Pinterest, my website, whatever. And then I do some ads. I play around a little bit with some stuff now, because when you get busier and time gets limited, you still need to market, but you need things to work for you versus you doing all the work. So, but you got to kind of run or walk before you can run. So I'm just sharing all this with you to get really, and again, if you're at the stage where you need more income, your job is just to get out there for free and talk to people and write and do what you need to do. 2, with the thought of having a vision of what you want to create. So for me, I kind of have multi-interest. So it's for me, it's coaching and teaching professionals on bottom-up based nutrition, non-diet counseling based work. And having a viable business. So those two things, they seem pretty different, but I just love them both a lot. So that's what this platform is for, is to educate you on what's possible. And then create programs to do that, and offer supervision that gets people from, so, as far as I can, from A to Z, hopefully, or at least like, definitely from A and never going back to A again. Like, you can't ever be different. That's my goal, is for you to feel so much competence and can-do-itness, even if you're scared, that you're willing to take risk. And whether that's in your counseling sessions, that's something that I know that a lot of people gain by coming back from me, is that they have game-changing tools to not be afraid to take risk in session. That's what I want, because those are the things that like can break things wide open for people. Of course, seeing people one-on-one, and I tend to attract people who are highly sensitive and who've had some bad stuff going on in their lives. And I like these clients that are very complex, and they're some of the most brilliant, smart, sensitive, amazing people I know, and they deserve a chance. And whether that means the free groups, whether that means my paid group, whether that means one-on-one, there's something available to them. Okay. And creating courses. So I do a lot of that. I've got 3 courses, and that's super fun. I like teaching and I like creating, and that's the way I create. Some people make art, I make courses, or opt-ins, or those kind of things. I enjoy that. So think about what you enjoy and how you would want to do it. And if you could have magic dust and your practice or business looked a certain way, what would it look like? And don't let yourself be like, well, I would have 15 clients and I would have money for 4 weeks off a year. Is that what you really want? Or is that like the old paradigm? I kind of want to create something that I don't need a vacation from, to be honest. And so that means that I'm going to have different income streams. And none of it's passive, by the way. I don't think that's total marketing stuff, that is what any of this is. It's all, my time. But we want to spend our time doing things that have return and that bring us a lot of joy and that provide a lot of service and impact and return for people, like for their investment. And that's all very important to me. I want people to come to me and feel like, oh, she was okay, but like nice, but I don't know, I'm not really any better. That's not acceptable to me. So I know we're not always in control of people's outcomes. We're definitely not. But I want people to know they have a safe place to return to if they feel they're not ready yet. And so that's what I spend a lot of my time creating in my sessions and in my programs. Something that builds so much safety and so much hope that however long it takes, they get a lot of just a better quality life, and even hopefully like full freedom. So be thinking about what you want. I would love for y'all to share your dreams in the comments below about what kind of practice you want. And I would just love to have, take this time. I don't think a lot of us take the time. We kind of do, but we don't sit down and think about what we want. And it's a long game. It can take you a full year. It took me 6 months to get my Peaceful Eating community up. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of grind. But right now it's been so worth it. I'm getting ready to hop on that call in here in a few minutes to coach like 30 people who can't afford one-on-one. How amazing is that? I mean, it's a God gift for sure. So it's something that I want you all to have as well. Something that fills you up like that is doing good. I want that for you. So let me know if you have any questions or comments. Lots of cool stuff going to happen for us here in 2020 around a supervision group. And because I want you all to feel supported, in building what you want to build. And I would not be here without, of course, support from just support from my husband, and support from the business coaches I work with, and just encouragement from our colleagues that the trauma piece, we're all interested in it. We need you to talk more about it and encourage that. So if you have any questions about and we'll talk more about why somatic counseling skills, I'll probably talk about that on Friday. So till next time, I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.